Alright, part 2. So we're doing this a little differently this time. This actually is going to go along with my 100th article I've written for the Spirituality Examiner. Can you believe that? I've actually written way more than 100 articles for the Examiner between my 2 columns for the Spirituality and Relationships, but this is my 100th article for the Spirituality column for the Examiner.com. I'm actually probably going to be writing more now that I'm going to have hours and hours and hours on the bus. And I can tell you what my 2 goals are, by the way, so you can help keep me accountable. I wrote my first book, 49 Lost Secrets of Peace, Love, and Money, in 20 days. When I finally sat down and decided I was going to do it, I punched it out. And the hard copies are coming back soon, I promise. When I say soon, I mean within like the next week or 2. We'll have the hard copies back. You can get the ebook on peacelovemoney.com, along with all the other books and podcasts and PDFs and meditations and coaching that I've already done. So peacelovemoney.com, lots of great stuff there. But I intend to have at least one nonfiction book, or one fiction book, done by the end of the year, and at least one nonfiction proposal, and maybe the entire book, I'm not sure, I'm weighing my options, done by the end of the year. So I did 1 book in 20 days, I think I can do 2 in 6 months. That's my commitment. And there's more I want to do, but I don't want to muddy it up too much. So that's the commitment. So by the end of the year, you ask me, hey Dave, is your fiction book done? Is your book proposal done? Or is your other book done? Okay? And I should be able to look at you and be like, yes it is, I got an agent, it's out being shopped around. Because I'm looking at this time that I'm out traveling and everything, to be able to solidify myself and solidify the next stage in my journey. Does that make sense? To establish myself as a writer, as a more renowned coach, to get more exposure so that I can help transition into something else, because I don't want to be on the road forever. Okay? But the time and the opportunities come along for me to do it now, so I'm doing it, and I thank God for it. Now, a couple of questions here. So I've got a ton that people have sent to me on FormSpring. It's formspring.me, like me, / Dave Walters. You can ask me anything, you can ask anonymously. Formspring.me / Dave Walters. And they're about all kinds of things. The first question: I want to be in love, but I couldn't find the one. What shall I do? Do something else. I've actually written a couple articles about this and did a whole program about how to find that special someone. What I would say, to answer really quickly, if you don't want to read the article about it's Spiritual Loving 2, How to Be Mr. or Mrs. Right. You can Google it, you'll find it on theexaminer.com. But in very, very broad strokes, figure out what you do not want, because everybody knows what they don't want. Sit down and make a list of everything you do not want in a relationship. Then figure out what you do want. If you're not sure, take the exact opposite of everything you don't want and make a list of that. Then figure out what type of person would somebody that has all those characteristics look for in their significant other, and start turning yourself into that. So if you know you want a fit athletic person, they're probably going to want a fit athletic person too. If you want somebody that goes out camping and is adventurous, then they're going to want someone who's camping and adventurous. And once you're in the process of turning yourself into someone who will attract that other type of person, then go where they are. Physically go where you can find that type of person. Don't wait to bump into them in a store or in a bar. If you want a cyclist, go hang out around cycle shops. You know, if you want a bookworm, go hang out at obscure hole-in-the-wall bookstores, and you'll find that person. And you can still read the other articles or pick up the stuff I've written on peacelovemoney.com. What exactly is Feng Shui, and how does it work? Does it even work? Feng Shui is Fengshi. So you've seen the words, you might think it's Feng Shui or something, it's Feng Shui. Feng Shui is a Chinese system of divination where you study the flows of energy patterns in places and the flow of energy in life. Does it work? Yes, it does. Tai Chi, Chinese martial arts, largely are based on this flow of energy of the 5 elements between there's a couple different systems of the elements, but you have earth, fire, water, wood, and gold, and they each combine and oppose and create each other, and it's a really interesting system. And if you can find somebody who knows anything about Feng Shui, it is fantastic, and yes, it does work. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it, because I haven't written anything about Feng Shui yet. Why doesn't everyone use the law of attraction? Did something happen in the past that people don't believe anymore? Yes, and I'm going to tell you why. 2 things. Across time, the information and knowledge that we really can create our own existence and create our own reality was largely kept from the people, because it's hard to oppress people that are intelligent and self-aware and self-actualized. They aren't really in a hurry to do what they're told to do. Doesn't make for good followers. And the second thing, and you might not believe this, most people don't actually want to be held responsible for their own lives. Most people don't actually want to change. You'd be surprised by this. I didn't know this when I got into coaching, that people would come to me and they're like, well, I've got, a problem. And I work with them to help them figure out a solution to the problem. Not me just telling them what to do. I help them realize the cycle of behavior they're in, the cycle of decisions they've been making, and how it's affecting them, and how they can do something different. And they know that they can do something different, and they will not do it. It's an amazing thing. Not everybody wants to be happy. You'd be surprised that I say that, but it's the truth. I've seen it too many times. Not everybody wants to be happy. Some people would rather cling to that comfortable mediocrity that we were talking about in part 1. They would rather cling to a dissatisfying situation that is known than dare risk something else. And it may be that if they're actually happy, they don't know what they would do with all the negativity. It's true. So that's why not everybody uses the law of attraction. And also because the first step of a law of attraction is responsibility. You have to accept that everything that happens in your life has been your own doing. So everything you don't like, you brought upon yourself. And so some people say, oh no, I didn't make them treat me that way. I didn't manifest this illness. I didn't manifest this accident. And somebody like me is like, well, yeah, you did. And when they cannot accept that, they cannot change it. Because here's the thing. You either have the power to change and control everything in your life, or you have the power to change and control nothing in your life. No shade of gray. That's why most people don't use the law of attraction. And that's why most people who even say they use the law of attraction don't really use the law of attraction, because they get upset too easy and they keep manifesting crap things in their life. When and how was the first time the law of attraction got discovered? Beginning of time. I mean, the first time a caveman wanted to find something to hunt and he found it. The first time people were looking for water and they found it. It's a largely unconscious process. It's not that you have to turn the law of attraction on or off. You have to control where you're steering your mind. The law's working all the time. I mean, you're attracting and creating something all the time. It's like me. I attracted and created this new opportunity to do this high-level marketing work and merchandising work and see the world, even though all I wanted was a way to provide for my family and still grow my career side by side. And it manifested. It manifested in a way that I wasn't expecting, but I never gave up that it was going to happen. And therefore, it happened. So, the first time somebody was paying attention is when the law of attraction was discovered. And it's in like every major religion if you know how to look for it. I want to stay young and live forever. No joke. Is it possible without turning into a vampire? Look into something called rebirthing in the work of a man named Leonard Orr, O-R-R. Most people that do any longevity stuff and talk about being able to live forever in eternal youth are dead. So I truly believe it's possible. I can't say I know how because I got hair falling out and turning gray. So if you find it, you let me know. But I would point you towards rebirthing, the work of Leonard Orr. O-R-R. Okay? Can we even attract stuff on the internet? Like a specific item I always wanted to have on World of Warcraft. Yes you can, but if you really want it that bad, I would say either buy gold or have somebody power level you. If you don't know World of Warcraft, then that won't make any sense. But the idea is, yes you can, even on the internet, because it's still a desire, it's still something that's coming to you, it's still just energy, so yeah, the law works on the internet. Every other religion tells and shows us what happens if we die, but what really happens when we die? I did another article about this, but I can't remember the title right now. Here's the thing. No one knows where we come from, and no one knows what happens when we die. No one. Really believing is not the same thing, okay? So, I have my own theories of what's going to happen. I think that, we consciously live and move on to another level where we're either rewarded or punished, but I don't think those states are permanent. I think everybody gets back to merge with God eventually, because you cannot have an all-knowing, all-loving God that would banish people to burn in fires for eternity for finite earthly crimes, finite earthly sins. But the fact is, no one knows. I don't know. Your preacher doesn't know. They say they know. They don't know. They believe. It's not the same thing. So figure out what you believe. Figure out what makes sense to you. And that's what happens when we die. So I'm almost out of time. But I will still be doing these videos, but I'll be doing them from lots of different locations. Thank you for staying with me for these 100 articles and 57 videos. You are great, and I love you. Ask me anything or check out my website, peacelovemoney.com.